tonight, church. And I really want to thank especially those who helped with camp. We could never thank Sister Althea enough. She's always been with us, cooking from 4 o'clock in the morning till late at night. Sister Erin was always there to help as well. And Sister Rufina. We want to thank the folks a lot for being such a great help to our camp. Also, I personally want to thank the husband and wife teams that have been helping with the youth group. For Renly and his wife, for Sam and his wife, for Lawrence and his wife. I want to thank you folks tremendously, and of course my wife. Thank you folks tremendously for the work that you're putting into these young people. I know that's a fruit that will remain, Pastor. Amen. That will remain. Thank you so much. Would you turn with me to the Gospel of Mark? Mark chapter 5. Mark chapter 5. In my Sunday school class, we've been looking at this passage for some time now. So what I'm going to share with you, most of them, you would have heard most of it already. But preaching is not the same as teaching, so I encourage them to still listen. You might get something new. God works in that way. Mark chapter 5. We read from verse 1 to 5. The Bible says, "And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs crying and cutting himself with stones." This year, the theme for our youth group is Happy in the Lord. Happy in the Lord. And we've been studying this in our Sunday school class, looking at 8 characteristics of unclean spirit. And we see here that in verse 5, unhappiness is one of them. Unhappiness. Sad to say, I told my class that at different times, many Christians display these same characteristics of unclean spirit. So I'm going to speak to you tonight about being happy in the Lord. Set the tone for our year in the youth group. Let's pray. Father, Lord, we thank you for your goodness, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for your love. And we thank you that, Lord, I know, Lord, it's not your desire, Lord, to see us unhappy. Lord, you sent your Son, Jesus Christ, Lord, to serve us and to give us life. And a life, Lord, that we might have it more abundantly, Lord. Lord, the Christian life is supposed to be joy and happiness to us. Lord, we pray, Lord, as you speak to our hearts, using your word, Lord, we find, Lord, in there your formula for our happiness. Have your will and way, Lord. Use me. Give understanding, Lord, to the hearers, Lord, and help us to be able to apply these truths to our hearts and in our lives. Just in my prayer. Being happy in the Lord. But we see that this demoniac, this man from the Gadarenes, was an unhappy man. The Bible says in verse 5 of Mark chapter 5 that always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs crying and cutting himself with stones. As though that this man was miserable. He was crying for help, crying out for help. But it didn't seem that he was being helped. Of course, I'm sure that people were trying to help him. But he was so far gone in his unhappiness that he wouldn't allow them to. He was bent on destroying himself. There are many other things that he was. But tonight we're going to focus and look a bit at his unhappiness and how it came about and God's prescription for our happiness.